It would be nice to hear. I do have something I'm thinking of reading. Hey,
Eileen.
Eileen, hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, I thought I would, while she's getting him, I thought I would read. Um, I don't know. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, just fine. Yeah. Hmm.
This is an impatient letter to all of us from God. And there's a guy, a guy named Bo Lozoff who wrote this. And he worked with in the prison uh, in prisons, and he had one of his books was "We're All Doing Time," and his whole thing was for people to convert their prison cell into a meditation cell. And a number of people came to Baba through this fellow. You ready for it? An impatient letter to all of us from God. Date eternity. From God to my children on earth, regarding idiotic religious rivalries. Now, this is written, should have been on Christmas. You know, it's written um, with you know, for Christmas Day. My dear children, and believe me, that's all of you. I consider myself a pretty patient guy. I mean, look at the Grand Canyon. It took millions of years to get it right. And I've been patient through your fashions, civilizations, wars, and schemes, and the countless ways you take me for granted until you get yourselves into big trouble again and again. But on this occasion of my son's 20th birthday, I want to tell you about some things that are starting to tick me off. First of all, your religious rivalries are driving me up the wall. Enough already.
I don't know.
Every religion claims there's only one of me, which, by the way, is absolutely true. But in the very next breath, each religion claims it's my favorite one, and each claims its Bible was the only one written personally by me. Let's get one thing straight. These are your religions, not mine. I'm the whole enchilada, the spirit behind them all. I'm your father and mother, and I don't play favorites among my children. Also, I hate to break it to you, but I don't write. My longhand is awful, and I've always been more of a doer anyway. So all your books, including the Bibles were written by inspired, remarkable people, but they also made mistakes here and there. I made sure of that. You see, I want you to trust your own inner connection with me more than anything else. Holy books are sacred and powerful, but they were only meant to steer you inside yourself, not to keep you arguing with each other. One human being to me, even a bum on the street, is worth more than all the holy books in the world. That's the kind of guy I am. And my spirit is not a historical thing. It's alive right here, right now, as fresh as your next breath. Which brings me to your next nonsense. You act like I need you and your religions to stick up for me or win souls for my sake. Please don't do me any favors. I can stand quite well on my own, thank you. And another thing, I don't get all worked up over money or politics, so stop dragging my name into your dramas. Oh, for example, well, we'll wait. Let's see.
Keep going, Jeff. It's going to be ongoing for a
Oh, yeah,
while. She's on
okay.
her way.
What you seem to forget is how mysterious I am. You look at the petty differences in your scriptures and say, well, if this is the truth, then that can't be. But instead of trying to figure out my paradoxes and subtleties, which, by the way, you never will, why not focus on the simple, unarguable fundamentals? You know what I'm talking about. Love and respect everyone. Be kind. Even when life is scary or confusing, take courage, for I am always with you. Learn how to be quiet so you can hear my still, small voice. I don't like to shout. Leave the world a better place by living with dignity and gracefulness. Hold back nothing from life. Simple stuff. Why do you keep making it so complicated? Do you think I care whether you call me Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Brahma, Father, Mother, the Void, or Nirvana? Do you think I care which of my special children you feel closest to? Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, or any of the others? They all live in one place, my heart, and they get along perfectly, I assure you. Stop creating a myth of sibling rivalry where there is none. Just go about my business of loving one another as I love you. How can you keep forgetting something so simple? You don't have to abandon your religions or combine them into one big mess. Enjoy your religions, honor them, learn from them, just as you should enjoy, honor, and learn from your parents. But you walk around telling everyone that your parents are better than theirs? Like your parents, your religion may always have a special place in your heart. I don't mind that at all. And each religion is unique for a reason. Each approaches my great mystery in its own way. But religions are not football teams. So please drop your childish, we're number one attitude. The world has grown too small for religious narcissism. The whole planet is connected by air travel, satellite dishes, telephones, fax machines, diseases, rock concerts, and mutual needs and concerns. Get with it. If you really want to celebrate the birth of my son Jesus, then begin figuring out how to feed your hungry, clothe your poor, and shelter your homeless. Just as important, make your own everyday life a shining example of kindness and good humor. I have given you all the resources you need if only you abandon your fear of each other and begin living, loving, and laughing together. As I love Jesus, so do I love each one of you. I'm not really ticked off. I just wanted to grab your attention because I hate to see you suffer. After giving you free will, what can I do now other than to try to influence you through reason, persuasion, and a little manipulative guilt? After all, I'm the original Jewish mother. I just want you should be happy. I'll sit in the dark. I really am indeed, I swear, with you always. Trust me, your one and only God.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of
Jeff, who wrote that?
a guy named Bo Lozoff. He's kind of a neat guy, but he has passed on, but his wife still comes to the center.
Which religion was he, Jeff?
I'm sure he was Jewish, I bet,
Oh,
but he was kind of beyond all of that.
yeah.
But pretty good. I mean, that took a lot of daring to write as if God is writing to us, but very entertaining. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm somehow I can't get the gallery view. Oh, there we are. Yeah. Hey, so have we got Cliff anywhere? Did he come on? Oh, hey, I wanted a little later we want to get Sham to tell some stories about Guru Nanak. But Cliff, do you feel like sharing a little bit of your story of how you came to Baba?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Jai Baba.
Yeah. Move a little closer so we can see you.
All right. You want the full egghead?
Yeah,
look?
yeah, the full.
Okay. So looking back, I became an official Baba lover when I was 19. But looking back on coming to Baba, it was just so many things happening throughout even my very early childhood and up until when I became a Baba lover officially, consciously. But when I was growing up and it was the 70s and there were a lot of masters and there was Guru Maharaji and there was Sri Chinmoy and there was it's kind of like, a lot of spiritual energy, very strong. So I grew up on Long Island and living on Long Island and lived in Manhattan when I was 18, moved into Manhattan. And then when I moved out, I met a Baba lover. I met a woman. I was throwing a football with a friend of mine. And this woman like comes around in like this sports car and this has a little picture of Baba on the front of the car. And then she went by and I kind of saw that there was like this picture there. Anyway, so within the next couple of days, she was at a party I was at and I met her. And she told me a little bit about Baba. And and I actually started dating her. And she took me to a Baba meeting in Manhattan. And it was at the Baba house. And I went in, it was downtown and, you go up a staircase and it's a loft. And it's a very crowded room. And I forget, I'm not sure which occasion it was. It might have been Amartithi. But Darwin Shaw was in there talking. So it might have just been Darwin talking. So should I just keep going?
Yeah. Well, what happened to you there?
So when I looked into the room, I saw this guy floating basically in the air with this huge halo around him. And I wasn't at the point where I was saying Jai Baba to people or anything, but I just, it was like unbelievable what I saw looking in. And he was talking and then it kind of calmed down and he saw me at the door and he waved to me and said, "Oh, come in, there's some seats down here." So I went and I sat with him right next to him and he gave the talk. And then at the end, I told him that it was beautiful energy. And he said that it was Baba's love. And kind of at that moment, I really felt that that's when it really started for me. I mean, seeing Baba's picture was really powerful for me. I was reading The Beloved. I was already, looking at the books and everything, but seeing Darwin and at that moment. And then pretty soon after I went to the center. And so that's the basic story. Yeah.
But you might say that some of those talks that Darwin gave were so powerful.
Yeah.
There, I mean, you could be rooted to the spot. Because Baba would ask him to speak. This was after Baba dropped his body, but during Baba's lifetime, he would have Darwin speak in various places. So he was able to channel Baba, or Baba was able to kind of speak.
I really felt that he had channeled Baba, and he also, I felt like him look at me, and I really felt like almost like he was transferring Baba's love, and like it was waking up the Baba in me in a big way, pretty quickly, all in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, Jai Baba.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there may be other things too that occurred to you, but wow. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, continue, Jeff. I just spotlighted her for a few seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody, I had some thoughts, but oh wow. One second. Eileen, anything that occurs to you to share? I mean, you can always pass.
Well, I mean, maybe not. Let me just think for a minute. I just found this really interesting story this weekend, and I will see if I can find it. I sent it to myself in an email, and if it's short enough, I'll read it. Would that work for you, Jeff?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
This is, this is kind of potluck.
Kind of a potluck type thing.
Yeah.
Let me look
Anything
how
that
long it is. All right. I'm going to read the beginning and then I'll probably just summarize the end. And this, I was browsing the internet and and this is from a blog, JM DeMatteis Creation Point, and it's called Meeting Dr. Strange in India. And what he says, it marks his 30th year since his first trip to India. So he decided to post his story. And when he was 17, it was a good year. Actually, it was an awful year. It was filled with angst and agony and a desperate search. But he did eventually lead him to experience the divine, which he detailed in a book called Brooklyn Dreams. And that profoundly altered his consciousness forever. And it changed his perception of himself. And that small taste of the infinite plunge plunged him into an even deeper exploration of all things spiritual. And then 2 years later, that led him to the Indian spiritual master called Avatar Meher Baba. And he said the story of his discovery of Meher Baba and the soul exploding impact that it had in his life will have to wait for another time. In the meantime, he's going to talk about his first trip to India. So he said he's going to jump ahead from 1973 to 1985. And that was the year my 12-issue graphic novel, Moonshadow, was published under Marvel's Epic imprint. And it was done in collaboration with the brilliant artist. And up to that point, it was the finest piece of creative work he'd ever been involved in. And a year later, another Marvel publication came, Doctor Strange into Shambhala. And then he again had another publication. And the interesting thing is he dedicated the publication to Meher Baba, but he had a lone experience with Meher Baba. He didn't know anybody in the Baba community, and he avoided crowds, and he didn't really like to be part of groups. So now he's going to jump ahead to 1987, and it was another wretched year, and he was in the process of a divorce that pretty much shredded my soul to pieces, and in the process opened the gates of my unconscious, unleashing some fairly ferocious childhood demons that I spent most of my life avoiding. But through it all, a part of me, the deepest part, held tight to Meher Baba, to light, to hope, and to the knowledge that there was more to this dream than what appeared to be. And after 14 years with Baba, he was now on his way for the first time to visit the tomb shrine on a hilltop in India. And so he had an exciting journey, and he hadn't slept the night before. He was too excited. And by the time the New York flight landed in Frankfurt, he was deep fried and crispy. Changing planes, he noticed that most of his fellow passengers were Indian, but there were a few Westerners on board, and he took special notice of one couple, drawn for some reason by this woman's big floppy hat, but lost in my own amazed, bewildered, desperate brain, I didn't make any contact with them. And they got to Bombay around 2 a.m. And he had some connecting flights, and again met up with this couple, which he started calling Floppy Hat. And he took some shuttles to nearby slums, and traveled around with anyone, and bumped into these people again. And again, they landed in the colorful madness that was Pune. It was my first view of India in the daylight, and I may as well have landed on Mars, where I found that another recommended hotel, the Blue Diamond, was filled up for a month. And so he decided to go up early and took a cab to Ahmednagar, I think that's how you say it. And some hours later, he reached the Meher Baba Trust office. He found out that since he arrived a day earlier than expected, there was no room for me in the nearby Meher Pilgrim Center. And he was packed off to a place called Vilu's Villa, run by an old disciple of Baba, where he was well fed and sent off to bed and slept like death. The next day, he threw his bag in a rickshaw, rattled out to Meher Baba, where he checked in the Pilgrim Center. And after walking up the hill to pay my respects at Meher Baba's tomb, in my experience, one of the most spiritually powerful and profoundly magical places on the planet, I returned to my room to settle in. It was a double, which was a relief. Some of the rooms slept six, and I don't do well with crowds, especially at bedtime. And a little while later, my roommate walked in the door, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was Mr. Photographer, whose name I learned was Bill Gibson. Talk about a bizarre coincidence. And the couple on the plane, he had labeled them Floppy Hat and Mr. Photographer. And all that traveling time without talking to each other, and it turns out we were headed for the same destination. And not only that, we ended up in the same room. We had a laugh about the situation as Bill began to unpack. Out came his shirts, socks, pants, underwear, followed by all 12 issues of this fellow's publication, Moonshadow, and a copy of Dr. Strange into Shambhala. And I saw it, but I simply didn't register. In fact, I felt like my brain had imploded, then exploded, then imploded again. I wouldn't have been more stunned if Bill had pulled out a framed photograph of my mother. I looked one more time just to make sure it wasn't an acid flashback or a hallucination created by my time warp senses. And then with all the calm at my command, I shrieked like a banshee. What are you doing with that? Where did you get that? Bill, perhaps thinking he was sharing his room with an escaped maniac, looked at me blankly, and I said, I wrote those books. And that's when I learned that a friend of Bill's and Dennis back home in Denver had come across his books and noted the dedication because he had dedicated his works to Meher Baba, wrote to Erich to tell him about it. And Erich, intrigued, asked the friend if he could collect the comics together and send them off to the trust in India. No one at Meherazad knew anything about my literary career. I'd been involved in Meher Baba's path for well over a decade, but I kept pretty much to myself, despite retreat time spent at the Meher Spiritual Center in South Carolina. I just wasn't plugged into the global Meher Baba community. So Bill's friend did what he was asked, but rather than mail the comics, he gave them to Bill, who just happened to be traveling to Meherabad at the same time as the author of those comics happened to be traveling on the same plane with the author, and they just happened to end up in the same room. Call it a cosmic synchronicity, or as I prefer, God grace. But it was an astonishing event. A day or so later, when a group of us staying at the Pilgrim Center took a bus to Meherazad to visit Erich and several of Meher Baba's close companions, the guy who didn't want to belong to any club that would have him found himself very publicly presenting these comics to Erich, posing beside him while Bill, of course, stood nearby taking pictures. Given my somewhat reclusive nature, given the kind of wretched year I was having, I would have spent the next few weeks hanging out on the fringes of Meherabad life. This coincidence brought me right smack in the middle of things, and for the first time into the loving embrace of my Baba family. I was welcomed in a way that I could never have imagined. It was as if Meher Baba, with loving attention, had orchestrated every detail. And there's another little miracle that I won't go into, but that was basically the gist of it. And I really found it was such a charming coincidence to see, to read that, and I happened upon it. So that's the story.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's lovely how, I mean, we've all had some of these types of coincidences. Baba orchestrated seeming coincidences just like that.
What was the name of this author?
What's that?
What was the name of this author again?
I'm gonna look it back up. Hold on. Okay, it's J.M. Mateus, I think Mateus, and he has a blog. So J.M. Mateus Creation Point.
Wow.
It's not Mark DeMatteis.
DeMatteis, that might be it. Well, it's J.M. D. Mattis could be how you pronounce it.
Mark DeMatteis.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was Mark DeMatteis.
Okay.
I mean, all these comic books that he has done.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. He's a good friend of mine and his wife and daughter. Yeah.
Okay.
But they are kind of a little reclusive. Even now.
Even now, even after
Yeah.
that experience.
Great. That's lovely and beautiful writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did some music, right, Jeff? Didn't he also?
Yeah. Yeah. He's written a Baba album of songs and that. Yeah.
One of my favorites. I just never, only saw one.
Yeah. Just one is all he did,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So anyone else? Paula, anything from Seattle area?
Well, it's raining.
Yeah, that was the thing about Seattle and Tacoma. Were you there when it was raining?
Yeah. Most of the time. I did want to tell you that I'm not usually on these when they happen, but boy, I appreciate them because I always listen the next day. And I really appreciate that they're recorded. They've gotten me through some really tough times.
Oh, beautiful. I know you. Yeah, it's the usual crowd. We got Lanita and Alan and Betty sometimes when she's not cooking, and Jaysima and Shailaja and Priya from Goa, and maybe we can get Gabriella to sing a song. I don't know.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I would love it, Jeff, but once again, I'm without guitar.
Ah, yeah.
I meant to bring it to this room, but once I get in the bed, that's it for me. In the wheelchair, I'm just not going to get up again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But anytime you are.
I'll try to remember to bring it. I sure enjoyed the meeting 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And that was the first one I really participated in, and I
You
marked
just,
it down on my calendar that you're on for Tuesday night.
Just sleep with your guitar next to you.
Yeah. It's good to have some company.
And Rakesh, I mean, it must be 3 a.m. or something for Rakesh in India. Although Roshni is going to Mehrabad.
It's 9 o'clock.
Oh, so 9 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
I have just a quick off-the-wall question for Eleen. I recognize your name only because, if I'm right, do you live in Missouri, Eleen?
No, I'm in New York.
No. New York. Oh, okay, different name. Okay, I'm kind of on the lookout for folks from Missouri because one of our folks here in Portland is going to be moving there.
Okay.
So. All right. Well, enjoy New York. Tina should be here. We had a great meeting today about Ravi Basho. That was just really cool. He was such an interesting guy. Max Reed hosted that. It'll be recorded.
Very talented.
Incredible, unusual, sort of in touch with other spheres, I would say.
Yeah, he was kind of shy, but a virtuoso.
Oh.
With the guitar. And so Ganesh has come on board. Mayor Prasad,
Hey, hi, Jeff.
Hey.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Everybody, good morning. Yeah, good evening.
Mayor Prasad, you got anything that Any flashes from the eternal since we saw you last?
I don't know about eternal, but I see Ganesh's posture has changed.
Yeah.
No, I'm sitting just at a different place. That's it. Yeah.
Boom.
He's getting like radical in his movements. Changing chairs on us just like that.
I'm gonna
Alan, you anything that on your plate?
Well, I don't know if it's a good time to share it. But let's see. You know that concept or an information you said about completeness last time we spoke.
Yeah.
I was sort of sitting with that, and Baba. It was just like I was looking at a picture of Baba, and I was really like, how come I can't just be with you? You know, and I heard the word like darling, you know, and it really kind of just dropped me in there with him. And then he said to me, don't you realize you've already lost the game? And when he said, don't you realize you've already lost the game? I basically saw this image of him playing cards with these young kids and sort of like winning in the game. And it was a story, I think, from He Gives the Ocean. And the child saw that Bob was holding a card behind him. And they're like, hey, you're cheating. And he was like, I'm not cheating. And he took the card from behind her ear. And was like, you have the card. But he's basically was like, you've already lost this game of thinking of this life where you think that you're gonna make the decisions here, and you're the one in charge, and you're gonna find your way, and you've already found you've come to me, so the game's already over, baby. But I just am struggling to really let go into that, you know, that whole way of, you know, really falling into him completely. It's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before that Adi Keirani, that was Baba's secretary and longtime disciple, he used to say, conviction in darkness is God realization in disguise. To know that Baba is God, to know that he is the one down here on this gross level, is the same as is God realization in disguise. He has put that in us, you know, he's put that truth in us, and it's just a matter of now peeling away the layers of the onion to discover that that's already been implanted in us. You know, I don't know if that, and how we did it, I mean, there's no way you could know that God exists down here unless it was put in you. That's my feeling. So if you know that he is there, it's an incredible truth, impossible to come upon. With all the resources at our command could never produce that truth, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt very freeing in a certain way to realize that the game's already lost. Like I can't really, I'm not going to find him through this world, through all these things that I've been addicted to, really. I mean, even though I have to really find him in this body, in this world, but I don't know. It was just kind of a very surreal, but very beautiful. It was very light, very light. It wasn't like a mean, you know, spirited, like you've lost and you're done. You know, it was like, oh, I don't have to. Wow. some of that juice to like keep pushing and trying to control things. A little bit of that kind of loosened a little. I don't know.
Yeah. Bao always used to say, and I'm sure most of you have heard him say, it's a losing game. You know,
I never heard that.
It's a losing game. That was a refrain. It's a losing game, and what you lose is your false self, and he gets to live as you know, in you.
You're saying that Bao would tell you that?
He'd tell all of us.
Oh.
You know, it's a losing game. and the way, and you got to give. He used to use the phrase, you got to give them your stinking garbage. Stinking garbage. Unload it. Do you remember that, Mayor Prasad, him saying those types of things?
Yeah, I remember that particular phrase about giving him the stinking garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, he, you know, it's not offensive to, it's horribly offensive to us, but not offensive to Baba in the least. There was one thing that he used to, well, talking about completeness, the difficult thing about completeness is that, oh, you got to go, Eleen? Okay, yeah. And love to your kids. The difficult thing about completeness is it takes such a deep acceptance of what is happening right now, whether it's suffering or whether it's joy, whether it's boredom, whether it's very hard to accept. But to accept how things are now, you get the reward is completeness and wholeness. But it's not as nice as if you were kind of thinking about the future or thinking about your past. It may not be as comfortable, but I was just saying, you know, that I think I said last time that Bao, you know, I was with him privately one time and I said, how are you feeling, Bao? And he said, I'm suffering from head to foot. You know, he's just there, sitting there, but he's accepted it so completely that he's emanating this great love, and he's glowing. He's actually glowing, even though he is sitting in that state of completeness, of painful completeness. But from that completeness, beautiful things come. Beautiful things flow from that completeness, rather than having to make yourself do things, creative things, or not. From that completeness, lovely things come and flow. It's oddly enough, you think, well, if I just accept this moment, you know, I got to make plans for something, producing something in the future. But that present moment completeness it's very fertile ground for creativity. But you know, usually you think you got to go to your mind, and then your mind will produce what you need to do to get ahead in your profession or whatever.
So
I don't know if that's, I mean, we talked about that last time. I wonder what Cliff, I'll see what Cliff thinks. What do you think about completeness? He's so complete, he left us.
I think he was trying to unmute himself and he accidentally pressed exit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think someone was going to say something.
Yeah.
Gabriella, was that you?
Yeah, Gabriella. Yeah.
I was just wondering if you might, because you know, I was thinking when you said that, I have these moments in life like when I'm just really content. You know, I'm sitting with my kitties and it's just total silence, and with Baba, or something under a beautiful tree, or it could be these moments of contentment. And in those moments, I'm not thinking of the future or the past, but I'm not sure that's what you're talking about with completeness, contentment, if that's different.
Well, no, that's one of the stepping stones to completeness is contentment. Accepting your lot, as Baba would say. But, to get content in a pleasant atmosphere, but can you be content when you're feeling miserable? That's
that's a little harder.
This is one thing that Rumi said. Until perfume and stench are the same to you, how will you ever catch the scent of oneness? Until perfume and stench are the same to you, how will you catch the scent of oneness? I mean, that's a little bit graphic.
That's excellent. I'm writing it down.
But it is not easy. Ganesh, what do you think?
Like, I love this quote which you just said, unless the stink and garbage, like, they don't make a difference. It's like there won't be completeness. So, I mean, yes, what Gabriel said, I guess what she said, I resonate with her. There are moments when we feel that complete, especially when we are in Baba presence. But otherwise, to feel it, it just the sanskaras take over so much that we don't feel, because we're in that action all the time.
Yeah. Unless you can be content, accept that profoundly. The storm that comes through when you go into work, if you can accept that.
Accept.
I mean, in a profound way. Yeah. I mean, these are just things that I saw in the mandali that were immensely telling in my own, just in observing them.
Hey, Cliff is back.
What's that?
Cliff is back.
Oh yeah, Cliff. Oh, now he's going to disappear again. Now he's gone.
So, I guess I'm tired because I went to unmute and I pressed the red button, but what I did was I left the meeting.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. Anyway, it's funny how it kind of the spiritual life and being with Baba reminds me somewhat of the learning where, we kind of, you're going up and down a little bit, and we have our days where we're okay and we're really feeling very content and just happy to be the way things are. And then you'll have another day where, you're really getting challenged. And I think, the more the years go on, I've been with Baba, I don't know, 45 years or something like that. And especially maybe in the last 10 years, even more, my focus on Baba, like no matter most situations, I don't lose my focus on Baba. But it is still amazing how throughout, let's say, I give an hour, and whether you're driving or you're going to the store or you're doing whatever, you're playing a gig, or how you actually will forget Baba. I mean, I don't know about all of you, but, I tend to basically look at it that if there aren't too many highs and lows, and I feel very blessed to be with Baba. I feel Baba loving me and I'm loving him. And, I try to just keep that connection, and no matter what's going on.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and Bob are having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty lucky. And now living in Myrtle Beach, I kind of wondered what took me so long to get down here. I raised a family and all that up in New York, and I did my career and all of that, and it really is great here. It's great to see the Baba lovers come through town. Not so much now with COVID, and then the energy of Baba in the center and people like you, Jeff, and just so many Baba lovers. It's really great to be in a full-time Baba community.
Yeah.
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 Jay Baba.
Yeah. That was lovely.
Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah.
So acceptance. With acceptance, you mean like, say, we should not take any action to change. Like, for example, I am fat and I have to lose my weight. So I need to use my willpower to control my diet, right? So should I accept, like, I'm fat, I will be like this?
Well, it's that's a good, yeah, it's not, acceptance is a little different from, I mean, if you make a lot of effort, sometimes you can accomplish stuff, and then you can drop back into complacency, effort and complacency. I mean, willpower and complacency kind of are opposite sides of the same coin. But a deep self-acceptance, you from that place, you may get the incentive to really try to lose weight. When it comes from completeness, the job can get done. And that is just my feeling. I do best when it comes from completeness rather than willpower. You know, I don't know if that it's not acceptance of bad qualities without doing anything about it. I mean, we can have bad qualities and accept that, but in accepting it in a deep way, we will try to work toward overcoming those qualities. There's the inspiration to change those qualities. I don't know if that makes sense. There's a nuance there.
Yeah, perhaps I need a few more buzz to understand this.
What's that?
I may need few more buzz to understand that what you are saying. I mean,
Well,
to get that.
I mean, there's, yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, it's all kind of right here. You don't have to go to future lifetimes. We have on your premises right now, things that can help you in that way. But I could cut back on food myself. Hopefully one of these days.
I was thinking about Baoji and how he, he had emotions. He wasn't like, like he was in that position that you said he was complete, but he would get upset, he'd get angry or sad or different things. He was a human being, but there was a completeness in that.
Yeah. They were more on the surface where, and his bottom line experience was composure or poise, and these were kind of waves on the surface of an ocean that is very still. I mean, out in the ocean, if you go far enough, everything is pretty much still, and that's just the waves on the top.
Yeah.
Alan, you got?
Well, no, I really like the just when experimentally, because we have this lifetime where we're here in this form, and we have this opportunity to be with him now. It's like sometimes that song comes in, yeah, you know, and how does that go? And now when I hear people curse the chance that was wasted, I know but too well what they mean. Like
Yeah.
I sometimes hear that and I look out and I'm like, you know, it's like that dropping in from the head, when you mentioned dropping in from the head to the heart. In that moment, you have a sudden everything becomes more crisp, or everything becomes more alive and more possible, or just there's and the synchronicity and all that is present in that place. It's not a place; it's just you just are there with Baba, and there's obviously the challenges that present themselves, like the day of work. I think, for example, going into work with the perspective of, okay, Baba, you are really this is really something I can't do. I'm not gonna. And we say it, you know, it's say it with words, but to really, whatever that is, I think is an individual journey. You know, whatever that is for you to drop into that moment and do the work with Baba, that's individual. But to me, I know the difference a little bit now. I'm seeing when I'm dropping in from the head to my heart with Baba. It doesn't mean I turn off my brain and I don't know how to coordinate the men that I have to coordinate to different jobs and make sure that they're doing their job and make sure that they're, you know, I have to, certain tone of voice comes in when I speak to certain clients or certain people. I have to delegate. It doesn't mean all that just gets shut off and I'm just like Baba, 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 you know, it's like, but it just is like, there's something about not having to like, I'm gonna do this, Baba, and just hold on a second. Let me figure out this report before I, you know, connect. You know, I don't know. It's just like it's just really like you're here with me, and I'm literally just gonna. I don't have any idea of how this is possible, but I know that with you, impossible things can become possible.
Yeah.
If I try to obey you, if I try to listen to you, hear you, where you are now in this moment, it's it it changes the scenario. People talk different, or I talk different, or you know, if I need to get something done, it doesn't mean that I become passive. And if somebody says something to me in my work, for example, that is not correct, or somebody's saying something that's just not going to move the efficiency forward, then I have to say something. And it's not even my own effort. Therefore, by the end of the days now, I'm not so exhausted, or I'm not, you know, blown out of my mind and like I just can't even eat or think anymore, because it's like that energy came from him, is him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's he's doing the day. That's just sort of my perspective on, or my experimenting with, when you said the
Yeah.
word complete, something snapped when you said complete. It it's like it just, for me, very simply just the head to the heart.
Yeah. Beautiful. No, really, that and it is less exhausting, less demanding, because yeah, you're drawing on Baba. Yeah,
I
here's an
think, yeah,
interesting. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Ganesh.
no, Jeff, you were saying something. I didn't want to cut you.
No,
Only
you
thing
go
I said
ahead.
in the book Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, he speaks a lot about this accepting. He speaks a lot about this accepting what in the situation you are rather than resisting, and that completely changes everything. So accepting is what he speaks about. I don't know what we. I think what we are speaking with this accepting is close to what he says. No, the completeness, what you mentioned, like comes from Baba. So the completeness is, yeah. And I think it takes a lot of practice to what, just as Alan said, to go from head to heart.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't get fully into things. You can get fully into, in fact, to be wholehearted about things, even if it's a job that you don't think is spiritual at all, to be wholehearted about it, it will become spiritual. I mean, I'll just tell you my own experience. For years, I kept thinking, Baba, this is before I started working at the center, I kept saying, Baba, just give me some work that you want me to do in this life. I'll get into it and I'll do it in depth. Just direct me. Should I be a Montessori teacher? What should I do? And I had one odd job after another. And at one point, I decided there was a place called Begin Ice Cream. It was a Baba lover had an ice cream place on 17. And I got to that, and normally up to that point, I would be doing these jobs, but I'm thinking, this isn't my work. It's somewhere else. In the future is where I'm going to be doing my work. And at a certain point, I decided I am going to make this stupid job that I could have done out of junior high, scooping ice cream, and I'm going to just do that for Baba. This dumb job. I'm going to scoop ice cream. I'm going to, take the money. I'm going to say, interact with the customers and everything. And when I did that whole job, because previously it was always like, this isn't my job. My job is in the future somewhere. This is, I went through a lot of odd jobs, but when I decided to make this job meaningful and do it for Baba, it was then that every job after that eventually just led right to the center. But it took me a long time to decide to make something that didn't have any much meaning for me, to kind of put my wholeheartedness into it. It was through that it left to the next job, which was closer to the center, and eventually I wound up being at the center. So I had to get over this hurdle of thinking, oh, this is a stupid job. This doesn't use my talents. Job doesn't use my education. And so, like I say, I was only half-hearted about the job. And that was my problem. Not being fully wholehearted and engaged in the moment. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that was eventually what helped me.
Yeah, and you can slow down with people too.
Yeah.
Like if somebody answers the phone, or somebody comes in for an ice cream cone, and they're like, "Hey, I don't have time. I want a coffee espresso with flavor with strawberry," and they could be talking or going at a certain speed, and you don't have to necessarily join their thing in order to get along with them. That took me a long time to because I used to join people's wavelengths in order to communicate with them, and that was very confusing for me.
I don't know about everybody else, but I really want ice cream now, Jeff.
Hey, let's. Paula has her hand raised. Let's see what Paula. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the exact quote, but Baba said, I mean, he's given us tools, some really tools to help us with this work, because it is work. But he said, when you relate to other people, relate to them in me, relate to me in them. I'm in them. When you're speaking with someone else, you're speaking to me. And when they speak back to you, I'm speaking back to you. So it's work.
Yeah.
To remember that, but it really does help in all these situations, when working and dealing with a lot of different kinds of people.
Yeah, no, that's one of the highest truths, and makes interaction, just brings it up to a different level altogether. Maybe Ganesh or Alan can get the quote where Baba says, this is to Malcolm Schloss. He says, remember in the future, whenever anybody hurts you, it is I who am hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
See if you guys can sometimes find that quote. Whenever anybody laughs at you, it is I who am laughing.
Something else.
For me,
yeah.
Go ahead, Paula. Yeah.
Well, something else that happens is if you're operating from a higher vibration, it'll irritate if you have somebody else that you're relating with and they're coming from a lower vibration, that'll irritate them because that lower vibration automatically wants to adjust to the higher vibration, but the ego doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So can be a battle, a fight.
Yeah. I mean, an unexpected negativity just sparks.
Yeah.
Although sometimes you get the other one where they actually appreciate a finer vibration, but it just depends. If they want to grow, they will appreciate your finer vibration. If they don't want to grow, then you're just an irritant.
And then there's the feeling that I've had, like when I was around Mara or around the Mandali, you know, it's like, well, then there I was. I wasn't there.
You mean you weren't there in what way?
That it kind of puts you in your place.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which was didn't feel like it was anywhere close to them, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got these guitars that are right in tune, and then when you start playing yours, you find out your guitar's a little bit out of tune. Hey, so Ganesh, did you find it?
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, this is Malcolm Schloss was there in Nasick in 1937, 36 with the Westerners, and he was getting irritated. He was kind of a bit of a mystic, Darwin would say, and he meditated, and he, there was a lot of just small talk and, kind of superficial stuff going on. It was bothering him. And so he brought this up with Baba, and this is what Baba dictated to him.
Yeah. Remember in the future that when anyone hurts you, it is I who hurt you. When anyone loves you, it is I who love you. When anyone laughs at you, it is I who am laughing. When you love anyone, it is I whom you love. I am in all things. How can you realize my infinite presence if you shrink from me in those who hurt you and welcome me only in those who please you? Meher Baba.
I mean, that's the ideal. And where Baba's moving is toward that, but that is no small thing to be able to accept all that comes as coming from your beloved. That's a postgraduate level of study.
I have the other day I was driving with Adrian and she asked me like, "Hey, do you know of some like Arabic singing or people who sing like in Arabic?" And I said, "Yeah, that's a weird question." I was like, "Yeah, well, my grandmother used to listen to that all the time because my grandmother's from Lebanon, but she's Armenian, but they had to move because of the genocide. But my grandmother, who was very close to me, loved very dearly, and she passed about 2 years ago. It was very, very hard for me. But I don't really talk about the little, memories that come in. And so I said, "Oh yeah, she used to listen to Abdul Halim." And so she's all of a sudden, like you said, with the technology, Adrian just pulls it up right away, and we're driving in the car, and all of a sudden I'm faced with this music that I hadn't heard since I was, a child, and I grew up listening to with my grandmother, and all these memories were flashing, and I really actually felt some really deep heartache, some pain that I didn't know was there. And I'm in the middle of the freeway going, 75 miles per hour, and I was like, "Baba, what's going on?" And then I just kind of remembered to just soften, and instead of tightening up, I just let it, flow up and out, and it was just that. He said, "Don't you see? It was me you had been loving all those years. It was me you had been listening to so sweetly, that music. It was me you'd been laying next to all those years, you know, and I couldn't. The pain was so intense and pressurized to the point where it just was like love. It was just all of a sudden I was just there with Baba, and I felt such intense love for him. And Adrian, you know, was looked over at me and she's like, "Are you okay? Does that bring up a lot for you to talk about your grandmother?" And I was like, "No, it's perfectly fine, you know." But with that moment was just so peculiar because it was like, of
Yeah.
course, who else could have been?
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, that these are wonderful realizations that eventually you see that these are ways that Baba has been loving us through the various people in our lives. You know.
Yeah. I have a short little quote if you'd like.
Yeah.
This is from Glimpses of the God Man, Volume 2, page 198. And let's see. Yes, to be in the company of the God Man and to serve him to his selfless satisfaction was not an easygoing affair. Those who stayed close to Baba had to pass time and again through fires. Sometimes the mind would rebel and the heart would be in low spirits. But the God Man, being infinitely skillful, played with each of his companions a thrilling game to its farthest limits. To illustrate how, in the lives of Baba's dear ones, whether in the old life or the new life, the emotional crises were initiated and resolved, I quote below a letter from Baba sent in the early 1930s to Quentin Todd, one of his lovers from England. Baba dictated, "I have all your loving letters, and know how you long to be of service to me. You have been and will be still more, dear boy. Why should you feel yourself unworthy, and that I am putting up with you and so on? For I love you as you are. You have a nice, frank, receptive heart that can and does love, in spite of the constant reverses, as you say, from the head. And that is all I want. When one completely depends on me and leaves things to me as you have, I see that the reverses from the head gradually give way. I will order everything for the best, as you desire. The way you feel your own weaknesses open your way and lead you to rise above them. They all have to come out once, and the sooner the better. It is because of this that you feel as you do, but you, dear Todd, needn't worry at all, for it is all for the better. Things are being stirred up, and they are all brought out to prepare you for the greater future that is to be yours. Love me more, and that will take care of other things, consuming all in its flame, till nothing but pure love divine remains. That is all I want you to do, more and more."
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah.
So one thing, like just when Paula and Jeff you were discussing, in that you were saying one thing like about the vibrations and everything. So sometimes it does happen that other people's vibration do affect us when they are not in sync, and they like they just can be very contagious. And even if we are composed, and after a certain time we just feel that disturbance of theirs. So this is just
Yeah.
So this is just a thought that came to me. It does happen that way. Many times I have experienced that.
Yeah.
You know,
The oh, go ahead with Paula. Oh.
yeah. Well, so that's happened to me a lot. And it's like, okay, Baba, like Mansari with the cobra on her chest. Baba, just give me a couple minutes to say your name. Just help me remember to say your name when it feels like somebody slugged me in the solar plexus, you know, by a look or by whatever they've said, you know, that does happen. And so it's like, that's what I have. I have Baba's name, and and through thick and thin, it's like, I think what he's helping me and guiding me into is I trust him. He knows what he's doing. You know, I can't figure it out, but he knows what he's doing. And I think I'm pretty simple. Um, it's like, Baba, you know, no matter how I feel or whatever's going on, it's like, it's him. And I've got to just kind of adjust to it, you know, whatever it is he gives me. It's a gift. It's all a gift. That's one thing I've realized, that things don't happen to me, they happen for me. Absolutely nothing happens to me. Everything happens for me. You know, it's like some of the worst things, you know, but it happens for me. And it's for me to, you know, sometimes I just have to ask Baba to just hold my hand and get me through this, you know. And he does. He always does. He never fails. He might take a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. For 3 days.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful though. What you say, the way you say that is beautiful, that what happens to me is really happens for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even negativity that comes my way, it forces me to think of Baba. You know, I might have been kind of floating along nicely and harmoniously, and then somebody, you know, someone expresses some negativity at me, and now I have to jump in. I have to now start to think of Baba and transmute that into love, you know. And I mean, people, they help us by making us remember Baba. The way you're saying that, it's a beautiful. Yeah. Now let's see. Ganesh was. Here's the difficult thing: is, say somebody comes at you with anger. What if we're not careful? We will vibrate in unison with the anger that they direct at us, unless we can transmute it. You know, if I just insult Ganesh, he'll just tell me off. You know, he'll snap right back. You know, it's very hard to not just snap back, you know, but to be able to take that vibration and with Baba's name and remembrance or whatever, to transmute that. So we're not playing the same game that they are. Hey, we got Marcia Maltz.
Hi. Well, that happened to me today. I was looking at this frozen lake and saying, oh, if I could just make my mind be frozen like that. And then my dog got down on the ground and she wouldn't move. And a lady came along and she said, can't you control your dog? And I'm like, I wanted to yell at her, and I caught myself and I said, remember Baba said, let it be like the wind, like silk, and let things go through you. But it was hard, you know, but
Yeah.
it was like, I said, okay.
Yeah. I mean, those are real victories, you know, I mean, because you're going against your conditioned nature and
I wanted to say something really nasty to her, but I didn't. I just said,
hey, victory unto thee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while, someone will do something, hit me really sharp, and I'll just react. And there's certain type of, it's like a razor blade. It just comes in and cuts away at your heart. And boy, that's very hard just to not respond. I mean, in kind, you might say, yeah.
But that shows you something about yourself, you know, when you react like that. So obviously that's something that needs to come out. So that's a good thing, you know.
Hey, I want to ask Sham, though, to give us one story about from the Sikh tradition. Here we go. We're on our way. There's a billboard there, slightly ravaged by time. Yeah, here we are. Roshni.
Yes, yeah, Baba.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. John, have you
Actually,
got...
your things were more interesting and more regarding spirituality. So I was enjoying. But now, if you want me to speak, then I can speak.
Yeah, give us a story from the Sikh tradition.
Yes, for about Guru Nanak, there is he has two sermons. One was Kirat Karo, Vand Chako, Naam Japo. That means work hard, and while eating, you distribute your things with others and then eat. So now they make langars and community kitchens. And then the last one was Naam Japo. Remember God always. And another one was Tera Bhana Meetha Lage, that your will looks sweet to me and I accept it. So Guru Nanak, in his time, spirituality was much more, and Mughals were also committing atrocities on Hindus and non-Muslims. And after, it was about 500 years back when Guru Nanak was there. Then for 150 years, there were other gurus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 9th. At the time of 9th, its name was Tegh Bahadur. There, some Hindus from Kashmir went to him and asked him that Aurangzeb, king, and his men are converting us to Islam forcibly. And if we don't accept, they kill us. So you please do something for us. He said it needs some big sacrifice of some very spiritual man. Then his son was standing there. He said, Father, who is more spiritual than you and who is more greater than you? So I think you should come in the field. So he said to the Hindu community that you go to the king and tell him, if our Guru becomes Muslim, if he accepts your Islam, we all shall accept. So the rulers men asked him, will you convert to Islam? He said, no. They said, you will be killed. He said, I know I will be killed, but I shall not accept Islam, and none of my followers will accept it. So they take him to Delhi, and in Delhi, Chandni Chowk is the main place where he was beheaded. And his 3-4 companions were also put with severe punishments, like sitting on a burning plate, like placing them in boiling hot oil, but nobody accepted. Then his son, who was about 10 years or 11 years, he thought that no, we cannot fight with them, Mughals. We cannot resist them until we make ourselves strong and be martial to fight with them. So after 1 or 2 years, when he became a bit younger, a bit young, he called his people at Anandpur Sahib, one place in Punjab, all his followers, and asked that we have to fight with Mughals, and I need 5 persons who are ready to sacrifice themselves. All people were just stunned. Then one man came, okay, I am ready to be sacrificed. He took him inside the tent, and then a blood stream was coming out. The master again came out and told that he has been sacrificed. Any other one, because I need 5 persons. So another one also got ready, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And after continuously blood was coming out, people were thinking that he is killing them, but actually he did not kill them. It was some goat or sheep which was killed, and all the 5 people came out, and he said, now they are my Khalsa or my Sikhs who will be ready to give their life in fighting or resisting with Mughals. So those were taken as 5 Khalsa. And after that, all people were in Punjab, especially and Kashmir, were invited to to make their one child, maybe the eldest one, as Sikh. Sikh were actually since the time of Guru Nanak, but then they were living in Hindu way, but he converted them to Sikh, fighting Sikh, and turned them as Singh. Singh means lion. That I turn you as lion, and you will keep your beard and 5 things by which you can be easily recognized that you are Sikh and you are a fighter against the Islam. And when every child was being converted, or one child from a family was being converted to Sikh or Singh, they had good number of people to fight. And for this, they started fighting with small area where the Muslims were less. They will go and kill them and fight them or conquer them. And when Aurangzeb knew that they are sitting inside the fort at Anandpur Sahib, he sent his forces about 10,000 to go and capture them. Guruji was inside and his followers were also there, but they were only in the number of about 40 to 50. And outside there were 10,000. And their one doctrine was that you shall not surrender. You shall not be caught. Either you will kill or you will be killed. So here they surrounded the fort for few days till they had their ration inside. But when ration was finishing, they had no option but to come and fight. So Guruji sent 5 persons in one batch with their swords and other weapons. And they 5 people came and killed at least 100 people outside. Because now when Muslims knew that they shall not surrender and that they shall not run, then they themselves started fearing that they shall either kill or be killed. So normally they would go a little back so that front people are easily killed. So there was a fear among them. But now these 5 people came out and killed about 100. But then again, when they saw that 5 are killed, they sent 5 more. And they again killed 100 to more than 100 and 200. So, and Guruji had to be, Guruji was also ready to fight, but disciple said, no, you go away from this place because you will be organizing other people. If you are killed, your whole movement will be finished. So Guruji just made another one with his cloth inside, and himself he went with 2 more people, and thereby he organized more people, and again fighting continued. And lastly, when he was wounded in certain places, he had been away to Maharashtra, Nanded, one place. And this Guruji was born in Patna, which is now in Bihar. But his fighting or his continuous struggle was in Punjab and Jammu Kashmir. So from Nanded, he went and he thought that now he has very less followers who will be ready to fight. There he found a yogi. His name was Lakshman Das. He was sitting and
Hey,
doing
Sham,
Yes.
Sham. So
Yes.
stop there at that point, and next time you take us from that how they meeting the yogi and how the effect that had. Save that
Okay.
for next time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
the.
beautiful. You know, and we may have you backtrack a little bit just to fill in that scene there. You know, of 50. Yeah, save that.
Thank you.
We won't. But wonderful, because we don't know anything about that.
Thank you.
This is, you know, Guru Nanak and that whole
Its name was
succession.
Guru Gobind Singh. His name was
Bahadur.
And Baba did say Guru Nanak was a perfect master.
Yeah, and he had the prayers and the story. He had a number of Sikh followers.
Yes.
And other gurus also who were following Guru Nanak, they were also considered as perfect master, and they had many followers, and spirituality was at its zenith in those days.
Yeah.
And Guru Gobind Singh was also more spiritual than fighter. Fighting he accepted as a weapon to curb the conversion to Islam.
Yeah. No, good. So we're getting a little history. Meanwhile, we're dealing with our our hysteria over here, and we're getting some history over there.
Jeff, I had this one question, which is something different, and I don't know. I've been trying to find this answer, and I think I just discussed. I don't know if anyone can help on that. Is with the cover of the Effort and Grace book of that yellow rose? I just wanted to know, like, why was that yellow rose chosen? Is there something special to that? Means why was it chosen for the chapter?
You know, I don't. I know that the son of the woman who had these things published, that was a photograph he had taken, and it was put on the cover. But I don't know if there was any symbolic meaning to it.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Because I felt
the favorite flower of Muhammad was the rose.
And with Baba also liked red roses, right? That's
Yeah.
what I heard.
But this is a yellow rose. Yeah.
This is yellow.
This is
Yes.
So, it looks like has it been raining or something? Anyway, this is Roshni. She's on her way to Mehrabad. Boy. Okay. Let's see. What about VJ? VJ, you know, he was a Sikh, you know, but then he shaved his beard and threw away his sword. What's happening with VJ?
Yeah, Jai Baba. Yeah, that was very interesting, your previous conversation.
Yeah.
And I was just, I wanted to say that, this life is not just a mere coincidence, but by virtue of previous karma in our previous life, we got this. So whatever we got, whatever the events, whatever the situation we are facing in everyday life, it's by virtue of our previous karma. So we have to accept it because see, it is a debt and we have to clear. When we take money from someone, we have to pay it back. So this is all our karma, all karmic things we got in this life. So now we have to clear it. So we have to accept it happily. And now Baba is there to help us. He's the father. So now when Father is with us and we have to spend all those karma, what is the problem in it? So accept it happily. And see, Baba, he's holding our hand. Be sure, have trust that he's holding our hand, and let us face the world happily. So whatever situation he puts you in, and it becomes very interesting when you are with Baba, you can face any damn thing in the world. So that's the way I look at it. And so no problem for me. I feel very happy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Jai Baba. Jai
Yep.
Baba.
And sometime or other, that there's that quote that that Baba gave to your father. Sometime I'd like you to read that again too.
Yeah, trust. Well, yeah, it is there. But in short, I will say the gist that Baba said to my father that he has not seen my real form, but still Sulu has that trust and faith in me. I really appreciate that. And Baba appreciated that trust and faith this poor boy have in me. He has seen me once at Panchagani, and since then he accepted me. So he appreciates. So what I feel that even if we have little love for him, he appreciates each of us. And whatever we are spending this time for him, we are talking of him, we are singing bhajans for him, and that's really wonderful. We are just thinking about him. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, beautiful, VJ.
Jeff, did you see Roshani is making the left turn to Baba's house? Oh,
Yeah.
Can
Let's see. You mean, so here we're coming, well, I don't recognize anything quite yet. We're going, I think they're still just turned off of the main highway, I believe. This is still a ways out.
Hey, Jeff,
So
I was going
side-
to ask if you ever
Yeah.
sat with Erich or Mani and they discussed Baba's gestures.
They did, but they didn't do it a whole lot. I would have liked it a lot more. But you know, there were a number of gestures that they would indicate. But like I say, you know, like tea, and this is a woman, this is a Westerner with a hat. You know, there were a lot of, but they didn't go into it in depth. Although I heard that somebody got like Mani interpreted Baba's gestures of things that he was saying in the movies, you know, the silent movies, and she was reading Baba's gestures, and someone recorded that to go along with the movies, but we have not seen. I haven't heard the, you know, her interpretation of Baba's gestures.
I think Bob and Casey Cook were making a movie on that, so it's still in progress. But once that comes out, that will have a lot of Baba gestures, which our sister Mani is explaining. So
Yeah, but
sometime.
That's been 20 years. It's been a long time. But Erich just he was, I don't know, he seemed to be a little reticent to give Baba's gestures. Maybe it was just painful for him, you know, just to recount. But you know, Erich used to say that his whole life was just like looking at Baba's hands. I mean, so much of his life was just all reduced to, you know, Baba doing these gestures, you know. I mean, You know, no grand vistas of anything. It was a very, very concrete and finite. His whole world was just sometimes just Baba's hands.
He's putting numbers like 10 and 5, so whatever that means.
Say that again.
Roshani is saying it's like 10 and then 5, 4 kilometers maybe?
It could be. It looks like they were, I think I know where she is. It's on that side road as you come off the highway. So, Mayor Prasad, what do you think?
So, I think really just enjoying the talk.
Yeah. You know, I'll throw this out. This is something that Baokao Chiri used to do. Every time he would come to the center or to the west, he would have some theme. And this was the theme. He would, this one was one of his themes, is like, say, suppose you do something that's selfish. If you justify it, the selfish or unkind thing you've done, there's no remorse. And if there's no remorse, Baba can't forgive you. And if you don't get forgiven, you won't change. You'll just stay the same. So he used to be, you know, around Baba. If you justified something and said, Baba, the fault is mine, they all kind of learned if Baba criticized when they say the fault is mine. But if they didn't, if they justified it, then justification cancels out remorse. And if there's remorse, then Baba can forgive you, and then you actually can change. Okay, let's see. We're getting now, we should be close. I don't know if she means she's 1 mile, 1 kilometer away, 2 kilometers away.
Is she in Ahmednagar or Pune or where is it?
She's coming right up to Mehrabad.
Roshni has reached Mehrabad and is on the hill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so we are on
Can
the
you-
hill.
Yes. Can you see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know where you are.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Okay.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Yeah.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
So this is the parking lot. There's the converted water tower
Yes.
where the women stayed in the 30s and 40s. And around to the left here is going to be Baba's.
Isn't that beautiful?
Round the corner to the left here is going to be Baba's tomb.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. 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 Okay, I love it. I just love it. Baba, Baba, Baba.
So they're coming, going down the wall here.
Okay.
There's the theater, the open air theater,
Aw.
where plays were performed over the years.
Yeah.
Coming around.
Oh, be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Aziz.
Oh, wow. It's been
Avatar
like
Meher Baba ki
7
jai.
years since we've been there. 7.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mansari used to have a whole lot of dogs up here. There's one right there.
Jay, send me some for us too.
A lucky dog. That's the tomb, the samadhi.
Oh, oh my beloved Lord. Mm.
Is that Jal Dastur? I don't know.
Do you have to make reservations, or how do they keep the crowd?
I don't know.
Wow.
So you have to kind of sanitize your hands, I see.
Wow. Thank you, Roshani.
There's the tin shed where Baba was in seclusion. Oh, I can't tell who that is.
Wow.
It's all the arrangement of everything's changed just for the for the pandemic, and you can walk down this little carpet, I guess you might say, and look into Baba's tomb. And to the right and left of the Baba's tomb are the tombs of the women Mandali. There's Mansari. That's Mani's grave right there. Wow.
Wow, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Coming around the side where Mara's grave is, right there, just to the left of the tomb.
Who's next to Mara?
Okay, next to Mara, let's see. Naja is one of them. Kitty is on the far left. Then there's, wow, we'll see here. There's Kitty. There's Naja. That's Naja right there. That's Baba's cousin. And there's Rano, Gailey, Masi. That's Carmen Masi. I mean, not Carmen Masi. Oh, I'm blanking out.
I think Sunamasi.
Sunamasi, yeah. That's Khorshid's mother. And Khorshid is on the other side.
Elizabeth is there too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's would be behind us.
Outside.
In Norina, and Baba's parents would be directly behind us about 30 feet. Oh, they have a different photograph there.
Yes, the painting had some fungus on it, so they have taken that to restore it back and remove all that and repair it, and so it should be back in few weeks.
Yeah.
Till then, they have the other photo, the photo that was in the
Roshni,
80s.
thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Roshan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Roshni, you can't get the view inside the tomb around that right window? We'll
Network.
Going in for darshan now and taking.
well, that's about as close as we're going to get to the tomb.
You all with me.
Over the next stretch. Well, I
was
guess.
great.
And top
You take this with her?
Yeah.
Bye everyone. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Yeah, Jai Baba. Thank you,
Jai.
Roshni.
Thanks, Roshni.
Roshni, can you get the view in that the right window into where we can see the interior of Baba's? Well, we'll find out if she can do that. Anyone have any last minute quote or any?
Now I know Dhanyawad means thank you, but I don't know what Ustad means.
Ustad, Dhanyawad?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I know Dhanyawad means thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
What's Ustad?
Master.
I can't hear
Also
you.
means worthy of praise. Dhanyawad.
Oh, but what does Ustad mean then?
Master.
Master.
Ustad.
And it also means, besides thank you, it means
worthy of praise.
Dhanyawad means thank you, and Ustad means thank you, Lord, or God, Master. Ustad. Oh, let's see if she, if we could get her to walk around.
This Ustad word is used for musicians mostly early days. So it has come from that, the musicians, their master musicians.
Yeah, the literal translation is like maestro or something like that.
Maestro, yeah. Ooh.
Okay, I have to drop off now, so I have to because of work.
Yeah.
So, Jai Baba,
Hey,
thank you, everybody.
So, yeah, do you have one last quote before we go? Alan, have you got one? Well, here, I got one from Prophet Muhammad here.
Good.
You will not enter paradise until you have faith, and you will not have faith until you love one another. Let me guide you to something in the doing of which you will love one another. Give a loving greeting to everyone among you. Prophet Muhammad.
Jai Baba.
A loving greeting to everyone among you.
That was beautiful.
Hey, so.
Happy year
Payam, good.
2020.
Hi.
Yeah. nice to see you.
Nice to be back.
Yeah, Nasreen, she's.
Hi, Payam.
Oh, Jen Doan is here. We got quite a few people from Oregon. Patty's here.
Yeah, I had a quote in regards to anger, which was interesting. Baba, this is out of the book You and I that Rick Chapman has put together with some different unusual quotes from Baba, or not unusual, but selected ones. And this is to gulp, quote, to gulp down anger is one of the most courageous acts one can perform.
Yeah.
So that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, Baba says that anger is one of the last to go because it's connected to the mental realm.
Yeah.
Greed is the subtle realm, and lust is the gross realm. You know, it's you can't only the Master's grace can help you get rid of anger.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
But then trying draws his grace. So. Yeah. Good. Oh, well, so I didn't know what Patty that was. Good.
Oh,
you.
We got Oregon. That was in response. And then there was another one for the rain that was very sweet. That
and Paula is there. Well, no, she's from Seattle.
Yeah.
And Jay is from Seattle, and Mary Prasad. Yeah. Meph is from Phoenix. But we got Jen Doan. It's great. Yeah. Hey, so I guess we're up to the midnight hour almost. Anyone think of anything to?
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, Erica was lived there in India, and he would come up with very interesting readings and things, and he told me there was a perfect master who, after becoming realized, this is a perfect master, decided to fathom the stature and magnitude of the Prophet Muhammad. And so he set about to try to fathom the depth of Muhammad. And I guess he took some days. And after some days, as close as he could get to Prophet Muhammad, even though he is perfect, the closest he could get to Prophet Muhammad was just a stake outside the tent of Muhammad's tent in the desert. He couldn't even get into the tent itself to see Muhammad himself. That's how great Baba is. In creation, he is so great because he is with everyone, personally with everyone, and a perfect master doesn't have that comprehensiveness of Baba. So we have hit upon the God himself in human form. Yeah. So we have
perfect master is in the domain of duality, and so that duality is there. Unless he gets union, then after union only one can understand.
But even after his union, this was after his union, trying to fathom Muhammad. He couldn't do it because Baba in creation is so comprehensive.
Yeah.
And even a perfect master doesn't have the universal comprehensiveness that Baba has.
In Hindu mythology, there is a concept, they say that Parabrahma, then Paratpar, Parabrahm, Paratpar, beyond. So there is no depth. So I can understand, I can feel.
No, we have stumbled upon the Lord of creation himself. I don't know how it happened, but we did. I mean, we hit the lottery, the
highest of the high.
Yeah, the highest of the high.
Well,
And
I'd like to share a very short thing, which
yeah,
is something that it doesn't really relate in a certain way, but I don't know why. But it's you think about the beyond, 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 and then bring it to that personal level where I read last night, Naju Kotwal, her aunt who was developmentally disabled came to live with Baba as well, and she didn't understand she didn't know who Baba was. She just saw that he was the next caretaker because the person who had been caretaking her had died, and so she was there with Baba and loved him very much. And one of the things that she mentioned that really touched my heart very deeply was that when Baba would go into deep seclusion, he would come out and he would not let anybody touch him, not even Mara, nobody. But because this woman didn't know, the aunt, she didn't know, she just would see Baba coming out of seclusion and she would just run up to him and hug him, and he would allow, and he just in his just how beautiful, like just and they would all witness that, like instead of, they would get kind of nervous, like, oh no, like she's running up to him, and he would just gave direct orders not to be touched, but she just didn't know the difference, but he was just so loving and embraced her so fully, and they were all very touched by that because she just loved him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so simply, I remember that.
Yeah.
Naju was adorable. Yeah, she lived up there.
Very simple lady, very sweet lady, very simple lady. Yeah, Naju.
What was the aunt's name? Not Naju, but her aunt was named something else.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I forgot her name, but that was who was the one that was hugging Baba, just to clarify.
Her father was one of the early night watchmen for many years.
Savak
Kotwal, yeah.
Savak Kotwal.
Yeah. I don't know if I could describe this story, but I mean, in this little screen, but when Baba, it was either the East-West Gathering, I think it was the East-West Gathering, and they, Sunamasi, a whole bunch of them from Bombay, they would get at the gates. There were 2 gates. They would get to the gates, early in the morning, maybe 5 in the morning. So they would be there, and when they went into Guru Prasad, they could get a seat as close up to Baba as they could. And so they were there, and I mean, there were people pushing them against these gates. There was so much eagerness to see Baba. And so there they were. And what happened is that someone was sent out eventually, I think at 8 o'clock in the morning, to open the gates. Well, they went and just opened one of the gates. And all those people got way ahead. And they were just stuck, pressed up against these the other gate. And Baba from inside told somebody to go out and check the gate, and lo and behold, they forgot to open the other gate. So she got in there, and she was way back in the crowd. I mean, there were something like 5,000 people there.
Oh.
And she was just devastated because she'd grown up on Mehrabad Hill, and she'd been with Baba and it was very hard to see Baba during these years. So she found herself way in the back, and she was feeling so terrible, many rows back. And so she was there, and she saw, at one point, people were coming up and taking darshan of Baba. And at one point, she saw this old man taking a little garland about this big up. I don't know whether it's something you put on a wrist or something, and it was kind of made of silk or something like that. And he put it on Baba's knee and took his darshan. And then she watched Baba with his hand on his knee. She watched him taking this little garland or little whatever and twisting it, and in a little ball. She didn't exactly know what was happening. The next thing she know, this thing landed in her lap. I mean, from way, Bob was at a great distance. This thing landed right in her hands, and she just went like this and just, thank you, Baba. I mean, that was, how could he have thrown that such a distance and landed right in her hands? So that meant the world to her, that he had remembered her. And she had that little thing wadded up, the little, all this kind of silk fabric, all wadded up. How
Beautiful.
Baba does these things. That's in that book, if you read it. But she used to tell us that. Yeah. Anyway, I think. Wow, this is, when this ends, all these kind of gatherings, we're going to feel kind of a little bit sad when we can actually travel around and the Zoom sessions kind of, become a thing of the past. I mean, that's going to be funny.
Well, it'd be nice to sit with you and sit with you all.
Yeah.
And, share times.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't just all get together regularly at the center or something like that, or in India.
I think we can do both. We can do Zoom and travel.
Yeah, but you won't be able to get everybody on this screen at the center at the same time.
True.
That's so anyway. So Sham has got. We're going to get the next installment of the sheiks from Sham, and Dinesh. We haven't seen anything but his nameplate, and we haven't seen anything of Jen but her nameplate. And Nasreen has kind of stayed hidden. Yeah, Nasreen. Now we'll get
You just see a blackboard. That's what you see, a blackboard.
Yeah, the blackboard with her name
Yes.
written on it. And Marge Cucci, yeah. Hey, well, anyway, much love. And there are, if you want to get your quote, for the New Year's, you can get it through the Circle of Friends.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
your Baba quote for the New Year.
Oh.
I don't exactly know how it's done, but if she has your email address, it's going to go out to you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Anyway, just remember, Baba can tolerate anything. He tolerates us. He's got to be God if he can tolerate all of us. Yes. Okay, much love.
Much love. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Baba, thank you so much.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Meher Baba.
Baba ki jai.
Hey.
Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai. Avatar,
Jai Meher Baba ki jai.
thank you all. Thank you all.
Moments divine, with rapture serene, till clouds come along to disperse the joys we had tasted. And now when I hear people curse the chance that was wasted, I know but too well what they mean. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, hey guys, everybody's still here. Sorry, I still have my video on.
It's okay.
And your mic.
Oh, and my mic on?
You're singing. You're not the only singer. You're the other singer in the family.
Yeah, let me